Hello everyone, welcome to the Social Club live for another week. I'm joined in the studio by Ped and by Flav. And because we've got Flav, according to Mark Williamson in the comments, who asks, how come every time they talk about Arsenal, Flav has to be there? Just lucky, mate.
Just is the way it is, and why not? All about rivalry and all that kind of stuff. Should we talk about Arsenal right now, right?
Yeah, but Arsenal's first up. Arsenal or just same old Arsenal.
Just blame Robbie
for
getting too big.
Too big
and not
to be
coming on here anymore. Just blame him. You had your representative and he binned us.
Yeah.
So go and cry me a river.
So all I'm saying is if people watch less Arsenal fan TV, Robbie would be here.
Yeah.
So it's your no, Robbie will be here either next week or the week after, I think. Pressure. But yeah, we can't not talk about Arsenal because it's quite a big thing.
Well, I think Arsenal and the football club and everything that surrounds them, especially the supporters, make it a big thing. It shouldn't be a big thing that they lost a game of football.
Yeah.
That's all they did.
The internet makes it a big thing.
Yeah, well, many people will go to Stoke and lose. Not that many people, but there will be a couple. There'll be a few teams this year that go to Stoke and lose, and because it's such a big thing, and the Arsenal fans themselves make it such a big talking point, you can't not talk about it.
Yeah.
So while it's great for me to come in here and talk about Arsenal losing, I'm not reveling in it really, because you just lost a game of football.
Here's the thing, Ped. It's same old Arsenal in that, you lose a game and inevitably all the same old problems and the same old grievances come out again. It's same old Arsenal in so much as struggling against Stoke. But I think they were pretty unlucky in that game, if I'm perfectly honest.
They were unlucky, but it's same old Arsenal for a reason. They didn't buy the players they needed in the summer, and they've still got time. And I don't understand. I see Arsenal fans ranting and raving, see the same ones ranting and raving, and I think, well, fair play to them because they're the ones who see where the problems are.
Yeah.
There is a massive problem with Arsenal with leadership on the pitch, and leadership from a point of organisation and just having a backbone. And it's a broken record now because we've been talking about it for so long.
77% possession, which is like the highest teams had other than Chelsea in 10 years or something stupid like that. But the point is, again, you expect that from Arsenal, a game like that. And I know Stoke are not Tony Pulis' Stoke anymore. They have evolved to a point. But, still very much that's in the DNA of that side. And inevitably, they're happy to let you have the ball in those games. And you do need something a bit more. And, I don't know, you've got Olivier Giroud banging down the door. He's not happy to be the super sub, as it were, as much as I think he's a tremendous option there. I think you're right to some extent. But rather than sit here and absolutely nail Arsenal over stuff, there's a game where any other day, in any other game, Alexander Lacazette is not given offside. He sticks the ball in the back of the net because he's that much offside. He's so close to being onside that I'm almost... I see no sense in giving that as an offside decision.
Yeah, there's that. There was that. It wasn't... It probably was... I mean, yeah, it's 50-50. It gets given one game and it gets
tough for you to say the words.
Yeah. But and the fact is, they probably should have had a penalty. They did more than enough to win the game. I know it's a cliche, but the game is about inches. One, the result is all important, but ultimately performance should be looked at. That wasn't a bad performance, in my opinion. It was a good performance.
But they still got beat.
Yeah, no, of course, but you can get beat because
you're unlucky. But I think fine margin, it's okay to have fine margin. I suppose Arsenal fans, the ones who are complaining, will be saying, well, we should be winning those games 2 or 3-0 with that amount of possession that they had.
Yeah.
And that'd be the biggest worry because they're the kind of games that win you titles.
But here's the thing, though. Alexander Lacazette is supposed to be the guy that turns possession into wins because that's where Arsenal's faults have often lay is they love having the ball, they love stroking the ball around. Great football side, plays a wonderful brand of footy, but you do need someone to just go, all right, that's lovely. Gives the ball, I'm going to put it in the back of the net.
And he will do over the season. Yeah. He will do. It just didn't happen for him in this game. There is no issue. They played 2 games of football. There is no issue. I get that there's a fallout from last season, but ultimately they've got a very good team. When Sanchez comes in, it doesn't look like he is going to leave after all. So, the fact that they're going into this season, they have to win the league.
Yeah.
Wenger has to win it because he's allowed 2 of their best players to go into the last year of their contract, which might be worth it all if they do happen to go on and win the league But we'll see.
Well, it's telling that Shan Khan in the comments says Arsenal average team without Alexis, and again, he's so good that you take that player out of that team, and that I think, Ped, there are games that your best players win for you.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it's actually these type of games.
Yeah, it is. It's you're right there, because your best players they are your edge, and it's great having 70% possession. A lot of teams could have 70% possession. When we had Martinez, we used to dominate possession, and you used to dominate games with Brendan Rodgers. But if you don't have the players to just finish the game off, and that's where buying the absolute top end player is essential. That's what gives you the edge. That's why Man United have just gone and spent the money on Lukaku, because at the end of the day, no matter what you say about Romelu Lukaku, puts the ball in the end, at the end of a move, he puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And forget about everything else that happens. If he doesn't put it in the back of the net, it doesn't mean anything. And that's what Arsenal have needed. And Lacazette could be that player. I mean, it's far too early.
And I think he will be.
I think he will be. But I think that's not their only problem now. I think they have other issues, as I've mentioned, that they need to sort out.
Just quickly, you said they're an average team without Sanchez. Well, an average team finishes 10th.
Exactly.
They're not an average team.
Yeah.
They're an elite team.
I think
they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know if you're reading, are you an Arsenal fan or not? Actually, because I must admit, I get this feeling sometimes. You can tell when what you're watching something special. When your team clicks and you're like this. And I mean, we had this very similar at the start of last season when we were just battering teams, and then when we lost a couple of players out there, you could tell the difference between a side that's a title challenging team and a side that's going to struggle to finish in the top four. And I get average can feel that way if you're used to seeing magic, I guess. But
look how long it took both Liverpool and Spurs to get over losing Suarez and Bale.
Yeah,
it destroys the entire team. You become reliant on this superstar.
There's an interesting thing though about Wenger chose to focus on the penalty thing, and I want to know people's thoughts on this in the comments if you don't mind. He says, we know we don't get penalties. I've lifted this from the BBC website. Look at the numbers and you will see. We had last year the highest number of penalties against us at home by a mile and the lowest number for us. So I give you just the numbers. I don't say anything else. I mean, to be fair, they were playing away from home in this game, but they go on to say, the BBC, Wenger's side rewarded 6 penalties last season, a tally bettered by only 5 other Premier League sides. 4 of those were given at the Emirates. Only Spurs 7 and Bournemouth 5, 1 more at home. So I feel like that's, if you're going to spout some stuff out, Arsenal probably pick some better statistics on all that kind of stuff. Although they did say the Gunners conceded 10 penalties, 38 games, the second highest tally after relegated Hull. So they obviously get a lot against them, which is fair enough, I guess. But that's not relevant to how many they get given, which is by all accounts a reasonable amount. So Arsenal fans, are you happy with the way Wenger's trying to distract attention from that into the things? We've got Ross on comments. If you see anything, Ross, by all means, give us a shout on that. I think it's telling as well. Jack Butland seemed to get man of the match. I think the BBC again had him there. He had a good game. On another day, I think Arsenal win this match, and I don't think there's an issue. But inevitably, there always feels like there's more of an issue with Arsenal. Maybe because they've gotten so big that they're so much in everyone's timelines. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that the Arsenal Fan TV's become such a tour de force that people are waiting for them to lose, and it's the same stuff that's getting peddled out. They've got so many kind of around social media. They've got so many things. They've got the hashtag Wenger out, which is a joke, which has actually become a joke that people are actually making fun of outside of football now. Yeah. You've got Arsenal Fan TV, which people flock to the minute they lose, and you've just got the general kind of gooner that you meet every day who are just all a little bit fed up.
But I think this game's it's a perfect showing of why that happens, though. You've got one half of Arsenal fans who are, or maybe it's more than half, who are, well, we had 70% of possession and we were unlucky. And you've got the other side that say, yes, that's all good and fine, but this is why we don't win things, because we lose these games. So I think both sides have got valid points. But at the end of the day, I would actually side with the side who say, who are unhappy, because this is happening for me. If I was an Arsenal fan, I would have been in the Wenger out camp for a very long time, because it's great having all the style, but if you haven't got the substance, and he doesn't, I go back to what I was saying, he doesn't seem to want to buy those players. How much this summer of Matic? How much did Man United make a big deal of bringing Matic in, and how much last season and this summer of Chelsea made of bringing in the top players at centre midfield that stop the opposition in the tracks.
I do wonder whether he hit upon the three at the back thing and's gone, great, I fixed it now.
Yeah.
And you know, people wouldn't have fancied Arsene Wenger to be the guy to change, you know, to drastically change the approach. But maybe all it is just changing one approach for sticking with it completely with another.
That's
one,
interesting thing. You remember Brendan Rodgers had that. He went to three at back. Probably the first manager I can remember doing it in England and making a big deal out of it. He went to three at the back.
In recent years, anyway.
Yeah, of course. Glenn Hoddle used to play that way as well, but. And it worked a little bit until people sussed it out. It isn't a fix-all formation. Exactly. It's good. Yeah. It works well in certain situations, especially against more difficult teams.
It always seems to be the zeitgeist of things, isn't there? And it's when it's working, it's brilliant, and it's like, wow, that's the thing. And then you'll always get the second season when everyone goes, "Ooh, I'll have a go at that." And there's probably 5 or 6 teams playing three at the back in the Premier League, and I can guarantee. Like Chelsea will probably end up switching from that at some point, and everyone will go, "Whoa." Like Watford will still be playing it with a month to go, scrapping relegation or something. You know what I mean? Like, it probably will, but you get what I mean on that. Ross, you got some comments for us?
Yeah, got a few. Shrek said, is Giroud underrated at Arsenal?
Yeah, at Arsenal, 100%.
Yeah, he should sign for Everton.
I think he's vastly underrated. I think he's very good.
Yeah, but the problem is, I think he's underrated. I think there's a lot of people who would be happy, who wouldn't be that arsed to see him go. Maybe that's changed. Arsenal fans would, let us know your thoughts on Giroud. But
don't players get better sitting on the bench though as well? Because when he was playing, all you ever heard was people moan about him.
But I think he's, as for Arsenal, I think he's invaluable as what they've been using him as. 15 minutes to go to change a football match. I think that's a very underrated quality.
Well, imagine if they played him up front with Lacazette playing off him. You get the best of both worlds there, but that's something probably.
They're not Sunderland, and it's not the year 2000.
Well, yeah, but it would work, wouldn't it? It would work, and Giroud's a good footballer, but it would give you the option to go to be a little bit route one at times. Okay. But Wenger's stubborn, and he wouldn't do that.
Okay, Ross.
Costed3 said, "Who do Arsenal need to sign?"
Ped, you've been very vocal about this.
I tell you who Arsenal need to sign, right? Genuinely, Costa.
Oh. You know what? Yeah.
Imagine, it would be amazing. He would destroy the whole place, but it would be fantastic.
It would be great for Arsenal.
It would. That would make Arsenal. I'm telling you now.
I can't stand him, and obviously can't stand Arsenal. That would be like the two worst things.
That is the most anti-Arsenal signing that could be.
And that's why it would work.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
I think I've effectively won Arsenal the league here. Wenger just listen to what I had to say. Yeah. I think that would be a perfect signing.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I don't know who that player is, but if Virgil van Dijk is available and there's going to be a price on him, I don't know why Arsenal wouldn't be in the market for a really good centre-half. Because I think Rob Holdren's been a bit of a surprise how good he is. It's telling that there's kick-offs that he didn't play. When, and Wenger does have a good track record of bringing lads in for cheap and making them into good footballers. But I just don't think they've solved their centre-back issues.
No, I don't think they've solved the defensive midfield issues.
I
think that's the biggest issue.
They don't have any snides.
You think that you've got Spurs have got Dembele and Wanyama. You've got Man City. You've got Man United who just signed Matic. Chelsea got Kante and Bakayoko now.
You've got Jordan Henderson. It's really good. Yeah, just not this season.
But you know what I mean? It's not the worst. It's not the hardest place in the world to buy football.
Xhaka looks like the answer because he gets sent off all the time.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I don't think that's the same. But again, it's like thinking that Ross Barkley's the next Steven Gerrard because he gets a bit tasty in derbies, whereas it's not the same thing, is it? Ross?
Andrew Mitchell says, "Do you think Arsenal have one of the best squads in the league?"
Yeah, well, it is the point. They're talking about needing to buy. I saw guys on Arsenal Fan TV saying we need to buy some players. They've got the biggest squad in the history of football. Basically, they need to sell players before.
But you know what that's about.
Alone.
You know what that's about. It's when someone says, "Oh, we just need to buy some players," it's because they don't know how to fix the situation because they don't know what it takes to fix a situation that nuanced.
Yeah.
The go-to place for a fan is either sack the manager or buy new players.
Yeah.
And
it's
bollocks.
buy players though.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, we've just said they need to buy players, to be fair. They need to buy...
currently, they have one of the best squads in England.
I think they've got a great squad, but I'm not sure the first 11 is quite what it needs to be. The thing that baffles me, and again, this is because I don't watch them, and people probably...
Talking about a team with Lacazette, Ozil, Sanchez...
But they're all attacking players.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
What do they call Koscielny? Boscielny or some bullshit? I thought he was supposed to be like the best defender in the league.
Yeah.
Is he not?
No.
He's only in the France team because Sakho can't keep his diet under control, to be fair.
There you go.
And he can't get in our team. Probably Not because he's not a good player, to be fair.
No,
It's
not
just
to do with that.
He must have done something else. Must have done. No, I think Arsenal have got a tremendous
How is
squad.
Klopp's daughter?
I think Arsenal have got a tremendous squad there, and I think it's very easy to throw excuses out. I just don't think, again, boils down to it. We're going to have to move on for time, but it's the style of football that Arsene Wenger plays. He doesn't like meaty football anymore, and I don't think that no.
What's meaty football?
You know, if I said I thought
Like
you
physical.
meaty
No, you get the
football.
soup.
Meaty soup,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
I get it.
You can have like exactly. You can have a cup of soup, or you can have a proper meaty
soup.
broth.
All right, I gotcha. Some proper substance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, no, I would say, exactly. I would say that they should be capable of doing better than they are. But I look at again, it's like this wing backs thing, and the Brendan Rodgers thing works spot on for me because we hit upon Jordan Hyde playing right wing back for a bit, and we hit upon Lazar Markovic playing wing back for a bit. How when you've got Oxlade-Chamberlain playing right wing back and Bellerin, I think, was playing left wing back. It doesn't feel. I mean, look, we did it with Milner again last season. I think these things work for a spell.
Some players can do it, and some players can't.
Exactly. But again, I'm really sorry. I don't want to feel like we're dumping on Arsenal. I genuinely feel like they were good enough to win that game, and I genuinely feel as though they'll go back to winning next week. Probably, well, hopefully not next week, to be fair. Maybe the week after that. Maybe the week after that would be nice. But Arsenal fans, keep your thoughts coming on anything we've discussed in the comments below. We'll be live again very shortly. We are going to be discussing Man United and their rip-roaring start to the Premier League campaign, and a little bit later on as well, whether it's fair to blame Wembley for the fact that Spurs got beat by Chelsea. So if you want to put the boot in on Flav Arsenal fans, stay tuned for more Social Club coming up soon. Cheers.